All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. So as we get closer and closer to the Galaxy S23 launch, the S22 Ultra is still a fan favorite and tons of people like this device. So I technically can't do a is it worth it video at this point because obviously I feel like it's fantastic and it's totally worth it. This device is definitely unmatched by a lot of other devices. I've even made a video saying this device has no competition, and I still stand firm on that for who it's battling against. As you can see here, I have one of the limited colors, which is the sky blue color. There's a lot to talk about. I've had this device for 9 months, and I am just more than impressed. Do I actually really use it? Yes, I really do. I find myself as a tech enthusiast rotating between certain devices. This and the, I guess I want to say family members that I have, definitely get a lot of shine. The Z Fold 4 and the Z Flip 4 obviously are the most recent ones that I've purchased in the last 6 months or so. But this one I've had it for 9 months. And the only reason I don't have it for the full year is because I ended up getting this blue color and it took almost 3 months, or just right at about 3 months, or almost right around 3 months, I believe, to get it in. So this is one of two. She has the maroon version, or burgundy, and we both have the 512 versions. So there we have 12 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of storage, and this is just a phenomenal device. I pretty much use mine for creation. And if not, I'm just rolling along with like text and things like that. I'm really rolling along heavy with this. But there it is, 512 gigs. I have just under 100 used, and you've got the 12 gigs of RAM. This is going to be a device that if you haven't picked it up yet, I think you're going to be surprised that you missed out on a really good device if you didn't get this. And I forgot to mention also, I have the RAM Plus set all the way up to 8 gigs. So do I have 20 gigs of RAM? Well, technically I do, because that's virtual. But at the same time, that aside, this is a great device. 5,000 milliamp hour battery inside, 108 megapixel camera on the back for its main shooter, and you've got 1440 by 3088 for the pixels on here. And this gets up, I think something that people forget to mention, a lot of people are excited about the 14 lineup and how it gets real high peak brightness. But the peak brightness on nits on this one is 1750. Also, this is 120 hertz dynamic AMOLED display, 2x is what it says. And then you've got an HDR10 plus. So this display is one, if not the best display, because everybody knows Samsung puts in the work when it comes to their displays. They just do, and that's just something that she either try to be in denial about, or you're just going to simply avoid it. And for me, this has got to be one of the best displays ever on a device. 500 pixels per inch. You've got Corning Gorilla Glass Victus Plus, and obviously you have always on display. This has already gotten Android 13, which is really nice, One UI 5. I mean, there's so much to like about this device. Owning it for the 9 months that I've had it, it's definitely been my go-to, man. I mean, and I had several cases. I bought cases. I bought the official leather case and the official silicone case, and this has been my go-to case. It pretty much lives in this case when it's being traveled in a case, but this is the official leather case, and I really love that case. But the design of this device, now the S23 Ultra is coming. So we've already gotten some leaks that the S23 Ultra is going to look just like this. I really was hoping for something else. While this is the latest update compared to the S21 Ultra, the S21 Ultra has the other design on the camera. I personally love this design of the camera with the little separation of the modules on the back there and the camera lens in the housing. But I still was hoping for something else. But I know how companies do it. They give you a slow burn. And so you end up not getting much change that you actually want in a device. But the hardware on this, my only gripe about this hardware has been the same way since I got it. I don't like the really sharp corners down there, because when I'm holding it like this, it jabs into the center of your hand. And even though I have big hands, I'm holding it like this, and this is not very comfortable. It is just not. So that's just what it is. And it's already a big phone. How big, Jay? It's got a 6.8-inch display, man. And then you have to account for the actual body of it itself. So, this measures in and has about 228 grams for the regular version. If you have the millimeter wave version, it's 229 grams. But nonetheless, this phone is packing a whole bunch, and a lot of people didn't even pay full cost for this. They did trade-ins for it. And as you know, I have been keeping a lot of my devices and not doing trade-ins. And so therefore I don't think I'm missing out, because I still get a discount, and my discount is just as good as some people's trade-ins. So that it's not about the price with me, but the price is high, folks, if you don't have a trade-in. And I think that's where a lot of people will go ahead and finance this to try to get the best deal. But a lot of people today have to have a trade-in. I know they've got to have a trade-in to be able to get this at a really good price. So performance-wise, this is, again, running the latest operating system from Google, which is Android 13. And it's on top of, the One UI 5, or it's under the One UI 5 is over Android 13. And it's pretty impressive that they can keep this running so smooth and just so fluid that, I mean, you don't have that's a nice house right there. You don't have any quarrels with the software whatsoever. This is an impressive piece of hardware coupled with this software. Now, it's not stock Android, but it definitely is reminiscent of stock Android. You can skin it, as you can see. You can have everything laid out how you want. You can change things now when you go to wallpaper and style. You can do all this right here. You can do the icons. I can apply it here, and I'll show you what I mean. It should go away. Yeah, there you go. This is the real color of the icons, and I just like to have it skinned because why not? I prefer to have some kind of flair in here. Let's change it up a little bit. Let's see what this is looking like. No, I don't like the green. Let's go back to the green and purple and all. Let's try this one over here. See what this is rocking with. I mean, this is just the fun part of being able to skin your devices. Yeah, this is cool. But, having some customization, Samsung obviously has tons of customizations on their devices, but a lot of people aren't buying this device just to customize it, because with Android, you can definitely customize the software any way you want. They're buying it for this thing right here. I would hope that a lot of people buy the Ultra because it's in line with the Galaxy Note line. It kind of replaces the Galaxy Note. Because they've combined the S line with the Note line, and so then they have this Ultra lineup. Now, it really doesn't matter, I guess, at this point, but I really wish they would have kept it separate and kept the Note line separate. That way we can have something to look forward to. But the Fold line is kind of taken over, if you will, and is definitely one of the better options that you could get. It's going to cost you because it now has pen support. Even though it doesn't have anywhere to store the pen, like this device right here, you still have an option because you can now get a pen specific for the Fold because it is a plastic screen layer over the screen, thin glass with plastic over it. So it'd be easy to damage it, but they have a pen specifically for that. And I can attest to that because I had gotten it too. I just lost it somewhere in my house. I don't know if I threw it away or what, but my backup is right here. This is my backup pen. This pen works with any kind of device that you may have because it has this felt point, this little tip on here, to it works with iOS, Android. It works with every phone just because of the tip there. So until I find my S Pen, I'm stuck like Chuck. I've lost it and I don't know where it's at. But nonetheless, the pen support on here obviously is just as advanced as the Fold edition. They run in line. It's side by side. It's a family member. So this is what you have. So the S23, what could it possibly do differently than this device? The only thing I think they're probably going to focus on is the same things as like camera and stuff like that, because what else could they possibly do? They better not take away the SIM card, and they're going to say, hey, it's got the latest Snapdragon Gen Plus processor, and they're going to do things like that. and give it just this small bump in performance probably, but they're just going to say that it has a much better performing. They're going to have to do something besides that to me. This design is nice, but I really love a rounded phone for those times that you have to hold it for a long period of time. Now, obviously, you can see I shuffle up a little bit and put that point way down there, so it's not too bad. But folks, this is a large phone, and most of you guys probably handle this with two hands. But as you can see, I don't need to use two hands. I can handle this with one hand. And it's been absolutely great in the process of doing so. So it's been updated to Android 13. It's got One UI 5. It's got all the specs in here that a person could possibly want. Remember, it has things that I didn't talk about. It's got an IP rating. It's got aluminum frame on here, Armor aluminum frame with a toughened drop resistance on here and scratch resistance. There's a whole bunch on here. Now, there are some things about this that are really impressive, which is that telephoto lens. Now, this can shoot in 8K, but who shoots in 8K? Because not very many people are watching videos in 8K because they can't take advantage of it because they don't have an 8K TV. At some point, I really wish Samsung would do like LG used to do back in the day, and at least if you buy this phone, you get a small 8K TV. That would be incentive for their phones that shoot in 8K. Give us a small 32-inch 8K TV, 40-inch 8K TV. Give us something, because 8K TVs, while they're expensive, they're not as expensive as they used to be, but they're still too expensive. And 8K monitors, that's just out of the freaking question. No one's watching content in 8K, but this device can record in 8K, and it's still at 24 frames per second, so that's another reason why I wouldn't really care to use it anyway. But it does shoot at 4K at 60 and 30. Then you also have 1080p, 30, 60, 240, 720p at 960 frames per second. That is just ridiculous. Stereo sound recording is always a must with a phone like this. So it is packing so much. And did I mention the stereo speakers that are tuned by AKG, 32-bit audio, basically 384 kilohertz of audio. Those things are important, but how well do they translate to regular people? Do regular people actually really care? A pause for a dramatic effect. Yes. So, I think a lot of people are going to say that they probably don't. They just use the device because they like the big screen and things like that. So you do have 45-watt charging for fast charging, 15-watt wireless charging, and reverse charging is at 4.5. Basically, the wireless charging and the reverse charging, it's pointless. It's just for advertising, because reverse charging at 4.5 4.5 watts is pointless. You're gonna have to be charging something like really small, like some headphones, for just a few minutes. There's no reason to use reverse charging. Even in an emergency situation, it's not gonna do anything for you, folks. I've tried it. It's hours and hours and hours before something charges. For real. So the fast charging plugged in is what I use the most, obviously. 45 watts is what I get on the charging, and this phone charges in just over an hour from zero. From 0% to 5%, I can get this charged with my charger. And I actually have a 100-watt charger that goes on the fastest charge your device can do. So I'm getting my 45 watts peak, if that's all this device can do. And the phone charges to an hour to 100% in just over an hour. So what can Samsung do to make us fall in love with the S23? Now, as a creator, I'm going to be tempted to buy it. I'll, at some point I'll get it, but I don't want to give up this device right here. No way. So the only thing I could do is just buy the S23. And so I don't know what Samsung has coming around the turnpike in the next 2 months or so, but this device was released in February of 2023, and it was announced in January, I believe. It's a solid device. It says it was announced in February, at the beginning of February, and released in the same month, 2 weeks later. So I'm excited for the S23 Ultra, but I still want something different. Upgrading and doing reviews on phones as a creator, I'm pretty much at a place where I'm really getting to the point where it's like I'm tired of reviewing the same phones. Give me a huge dramatic update and I'd be really, really happy. This reviewing the same device with these minor upgrades, it's been played out, but it's getting more and more played out, because not because the devices are not good enough to be reviewed. It's just that the current device is phenomenal. And that is this device right here. So it's your man Jay, 9 months with this beast right here. I mean, design, I love the design, but I don't like the pointy corners on there. I've been saying that since day one. Features and options, it is loaded. We've got the S Pen and a ton of other features and options. Screen is beautiful, cameras are phenomenal, performance, battery, software. Price is another downside to this device, but if you can get it on a trade-in or just get some kind of big discount, and now, again, like all flagship devices, like all these very expensive devices, the best time to buy is when the new one's going to come out. And even right now, as I said, man, there's a lot of places that are selling this device for like under $900. It may not be the 512 or the terabyte, but you can get the 128 or the 256 for sure under $900. So it's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed. No need to put this one on the chopping block. Is it worth it? Yeah, it's worth it.